So, happy Columbus Day, America. That's right, it is Christopher Columbus Day. And for me, that's sort of a special celebration because I'm half Italian on my mother's side. Um, so, it's a very honored holiday to me, a very important holiday. And Barbara says in the chat room it's also Thanksgiving Day. You mean in Canada, right? Right, Barbara? Yeah, I think it's Columbus Day here and it's Thanksgiving Day in Canada, I believe. Um, anyway, though, I just want to spend a couple of minutes because one thing that really kind of bothers me is a there there aren't any articles about Columbus Day out there today, none that I've found. Um, and B, the ones that I have found are all negative articles about Columbus Day. And folks, this seems to be a trend that's popped up within like the last 20 years or so. At least that I've been conscious of, even though, I'm only 18. And maybe it's just the fact that I'm half Italian that this bugs me and I have Italian pride. But people, Columbus Day seems to be a political tool for the liberal left. The revisionists have done everything they can to try and demonize Christopher Columbus and tell you that Christopher Columbus ravaged Native Americans, that, the Italians and the Europeans are the ones who brought over AIDS and smallpox and all of that when they were exploring new land. And so, again, I hate to say this, but Christopher Columbus Day, unfortunately, has become this whole let's blame the white man holiday that the liberal left loves to use an excuse to bash white people in general. Even other white liberals love to bash our European ancestors. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that our ancestors were perfect, but for God's sakes, folks, it's been almost over a thousand years, or at least it feels that way, more like 500 or so. But for God's sakes, all that happened in 1492, and the fact that Italian Americans are now being profiled by the radical left as this racist group, this horrible group, simply because some of us hailed from Christopher Columbus. It's just it's absurd, and it's insulting, quite honestly, because they've basically demonized us as a whole ethnic group. I feel like it's kind of like the whole thing. Just to put it in liberal terms, that's like, when they say that, oh, well, not all Muslims are terrorists, they get upset at people, for making generalizations about Muslims. And yet, when it's when it's gun owners or, Tea Partiers or Italian Americans, coming together to do something, they tend to collectively bash us. Now they're trying to make the Christopher Columbus story all about how we ravaged the Native Americans, and keep in mind that I guess Dennis Miller has been reading a book about this, and I guess there have been some artifacts they've found that indicate that some of these tribes were killing each other before Christopher Columbus and the white man even set foot here in America. So I'm not necessarily buying this whole scheme of how white man is completely evil and whatnot. I'm not saying I have white pride or anything like that, which is what the left is immediately going to accuse me of saying here. But my point in all this is basically, why can't we just, acknowledge that, yeah, bad crap happened between our ancestors? Who gives a crap? In 21st century America. It's not relevant. It's not relevant at all to today's problems, I feel. And if someone wants to, bash me, let them bash me for my, political opinions. We can have disagreements on that, but for goodness sakes, my ancestors, on both sides, I'm half Irish and half on my dad's side and half Italian on my mother's side. Neither of my ancestors' families came over here until the late 1800s. So, my bloodline was back in Europe. Way back when Columbus happened. And like I said, yeah, our ancestors did some bad stuff, but in the end game, in modern America today, can't we at least celebrate that, the fact that, the Italian American